evil revealed. The unseen war begins.
This isn't superstition, it's revelation.
The Demon Encounter, in theaters now.
Tucker Carlson recalls waking up unable to breathe, excruciating pain ripping through his chest. When he flipped on the light, he found bleeding claw marks on both sides of his ribs. Real America's Voice confirmed what millions already sense. We are in a spiritual battle, and the enemy isn't hiding anymore. You need to hear what happened next, because when one of America's most prominent truth tellers is physically attacked by demonic forces, we've entered uncharted territory. This comes as leftists openly celebrate Charlie Kirk's assassination online. Grant Stinchfield declared this is spawned from the devil himself. He's not speaking figuratively. The patterns are undeniable. Political violence, supernatural attacks, and public celebration of evil, all converging at once. Tucker warned that demons created nuclear technology and worked through government. They mocked him. They called him crazy. But those bleeding wounds tell a very different story. The spiritual forces are manifesting physically against those who seek truth. What's next? Churches under assault, conservative leaders targeted by forces beyond the physical realm, and a culture that's thrown open the gates to darkness? This is about more than politics. It's about whether America stands with God or falls to forces that want us destroyed. And as we wrap up 2025, it is time to reflect, because we've learned uncertainty isn't temporary, it's permanent. Waiting for normal isn't a plan. My friends at Noble Gold Investments have helped Americans protect themselves for over a decade by diversifying with gold and silver. Nobody knows what 2026 brings, but in a certain world, real wealth isn't digital. It's physical, lasting, and yours. When you're with family this holiday season, remember this. The best gift isn't under the tree, it's peace of mind. That's what Noble Gold delivers, peace of mind, 1 ounce at a time. So before you're in, take one smart step towards a safer future. Visit nextnewsgold.com for your free wealth protection kit. That's nextnewsgold.com. Don't leave your future to chance. And if you want a shot at those 10 free 1 ounce silver holiday coins, call that number on the screen, 877-646-5347. Now, the mockery reveals their fear. Nathan Livingstone admits Tucker believes the government works with demons. Republicans against Trump tried to dismiss it, but Tucker's testimony is clear. Something clawed him in his sleep, left him bleeding, struggling to breathe. This isn't the first time. Others are coming forward with similar encounters. In the same week, leftists celebrated Kirk's death as demonic victory. Supernatural attacks increase against conservative forces. They call Tucker the demon slayer now. Maybe that's exactly what we need, because while skeptics laugh, evil grows bolder. Here's the moment. Tucker Carlson talking about being attacked by a demon in his sleep. He's recounted this story multiple times. Let's listen to this version.
The presence of evil is kickstarting people to wonder about the good.
That's what happened to me.
That's what happened to you?
Oh yeah, I had a direct experience with it.
In the milieu of journalism, or just...
Nope, in my bed at night, and I got attacked while I was asleep with my wife and 4 dogs in the bed and mauled. Physically mauled.
In a spiritual attack by a demon?
Yeah, by a demon. Or by something unseen that left...
Is that right?
Claw marks on my sides, on my...
So it left physical marks?
Oh, they're still there. Yeah. 1.5 years ago.
Was your wife terrified? I know you were.
I wasn't. I was totally confused. I woke up and I couldn't breathe, and I thought I was going to suffocate, and I walked around outside, and then I walked in, and my wife and dogs had not woken up, and they're very light sleepers. And then I had these terrible pains on my rib cage and on my shoulder, and I was just in my boxer shorts, and I went and flipped on the light in the bathroom, and I had 4 claw marks on either side underneath my arms and on my left shoulder, and they're bleeding.
Wait, they were bleeding?
They're bleeding, yeah. No, they're actual claw marks. And I sleep on my side, so I wasn't clawing myself. I don't have long nails. And they didn't fit my hands anyway. But yeah, that happened. So I'm not from a world where things like that happen. I never heard of anything like that happening before. I had no idea what that was. I knew it was spiritual immediately.
You did? Okay, that was going to be my question.
Yeah. I don't understand to this day. I'm not going to put it.
You didn't try to refute the spiritual part in your own mind. You went right into the...
Well, it didn't make any sense, and it doesn't now. But I'm not from a what do they call it, faith tradition that talks about things like that or even acknowledges their existence. Like there's nothing like that. I've never heard anybody say anything like that in my whole life.
What was the next? The presence of evil.
Tucker Carlson laying it out. Demon leftists celebrate Kirk's assassination back in September. I actually believe it spawned from the devil himself.
No one that is human. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Stitchfield. I am convinced that America is now under a satanic attack. What we are facing is a spiritual war for the soul of America like we have never faced before. This is a spiritual attack. Just look at the response from those on the left to the assassination of Charlie Kirk. No one that is human can have some of the responses that I am seeing. It's no longer just that you're godless or soulless. I honestly believe, folks, I mean this. I honestly believe that Satan has taken over some of these people. How else do you explain behavior like this?
Charlie Kirk got shot and he's dead. Finally, somebody with a gun, which is almost everybody in states, grew a pair and went and shot somebody on the right side. Thank you. Can we keep this up, please?
Folks, it's evil. This violent vitriol that has taken over their hearts is not what America is all about. Certainly, it's not the behavior of the Americans that I'm so proud of. I actually believe it spawned from the devil himself. And so
there's no question the devil has been loosed upon this nation. But we have the power of God with us, so we know how this ends. Tucker Carlson is the demon slayer. That's what they're saying now. Tucker Carlson, the demon slayer. Look at these images people have been creating. Tucker Carlson slaying demons with Jesus. Amazing. Danny Polishuk talking about Tucker Carlson attacked by a demon.
He's making a whole video.
By a demon?
Yeah, by a demon. 4 claw marks on either side underneath my arms and on my left shoulder.
Pretty good way to get in cut cheating. Look at this demon, these scratch marks all over my back.
It's right here.
Correct.
And right here.
Also happens to be coinciding with a weekend trip in Vegas.
The demons hate when you go to Vegas. I guess the demons hated that I was gambling.
Yeah, the demons hate when I go to Vegas with the boys for a weekend.
It sounds like this is not a conversation for me. Like, whatever you got to tell her.
Yeah, that's fine. I mean, he's making a whole video about it, so he's obviously going hard on this whole demon thing.
Well, yeah, because his wife would be like, why did you never bring that demon thing up since you talk about this stuff all the time? And he's like, I was actually doing an interview about the demon thing tomorrow.
Shooting a gun. I thought I saw the demon. I tried to shoot it. But sorry, Tuck.
Sorry, Tuck.
By a demon?
Clearly being mocked. Demon attacks Tucker Carlson.
Tucker Carlson talking about being attacked by a demonic entity. This stuff is becoming more and more talked about by people that, if you're my age or older, you really wouldn't have grown up thinking that people of this kind of quote unquote stature would have these experiences or have them and talk about them.
I had a direct...
Tucker's talking about it. Here he is. Republicans against Trump posted this. Tucker says he was violently attacked by a demon. This is maybe from his Tucker on tour, one of his tour moments.
At all. And then I go to bed with my wife and 4 dogs who sleep in the bed. My wife's had 4 children. My dogs are hunting dogs. All 5 of them wake up like that. Like we have no home invaders in my house. I wake up at 2:30 in the morning. I check and I couldn't breathe at all. My throat was closed. It wasn't like I was apnea or was strong as I couldn't breathe. So I get up, I stand in the doorway of our bedroom, and I'm like, wow, I'm dying. I could feel myself starting to gray out. And then I started walking in the backyard, and then it slowly came back. Like my throat kind of opened up a little bit. I was like really weirded out. I walk back in, and my wife wakes up. She goes, what is going on? I said, I don't know. I can't breathe. I feel better now. And all of a sudden, I had this horrible pain underneath my arms, like on the side of my chest. like bad. I thought I'd been like ripped with a knife or something. It just was very intense. So I go into the bathroom, I flip on the light, and I have claw marks on both sides, on right and left side on my ribs, and they're bleeding. And they're literally claw marks, 4 on either side. I put my fingers in them, don't fit my fingers, and I sleep on my side. So how could? And by the way, no one woke up. So I show my wife, and she's like, "Oh my gosh." And then I have this like crazy intense desire to read the Bible. So I read the Bible, and I pass out in like 2 minutes, and I wake up, and the next morning I thought, man, did I have a wild dream? And then I see blood in my sheets, and I go in the bathroom, and I have these bloody marks. And my wife goes, "I think you were attacked by some supernatural being." And I was like trying to be logical about it. And I was like, "Yeah, I definitely was." And then I called one of my producers who's like, "Oh yeah, well, that's pretty common." I was like, "What?" And I've had a couple other experiences, and then I go to bed.
Pretty common. InfoWars fan posting, the evil left pushes for Tucker Carlson to become their wicker man after demon attack. Alex reveals new details of the coordinated attacks against Tucker and other pro-human thought leaders. Here's Tucker talking about the demons who created nuclear technology. Awesome Jew writes, Tucker's been losing it. He should be kept away from Trump and MAGA. The other day, he claimed he was attacked by a demon. Before that, he had a Holocaust denier on his podcast.
Good. He says, I will go back to about the dropping of the atomic bomb and the beginning of secular society. My dad and the greatest generation fought on the battlefields of that conflict and were one of the driving forces with obviously the Russian people and the Chinese people to deliver us from that time from Imperial Japan and fascist rule in Europe. But at the same time, Oppenheimer, and this is what's so chilling when you say about secular, he used, I think it was the Hindu god Vishnu. They called the project the Trinity Project, right? And at the very test there in New Mexico, he quoted what the god Vishnu about. Now I'm the destroyer of worlds, right? Don't you find that chilling, or is that tied to your? Since that time, it's been we've now dropped the spiritual, which even Oppenheimer realized in The Greatest Generation. We kind of went to what is a totally materialistic secular society that leads America to this place in 2024, and the instrument of its turnaround or its rejuvenation is a guy like Donald Trump?
Well, we didn't drop the spiritual. We just embraced, another element of it. I mean, if you're quoting a pagan god as you're incinerating civilians with a nuclear weapon, I mean, I think it's pretty clear that was the pivot point in America's history. And it's just so interesting how resistant a lot of people who I consider friends, I agree with on most things, are to acknowledging that. That call you a pro-Hitler, you're a Holocaust denier if you question the nuclear weapons or whatever. I don't care. Of course, I'm none of those things. It goes without saying, or it should. No, I'm just noting the obvious, which is that American society changed profoundly in August of 1945, and it's reflected in the culture, it's reflected in the architecture, the art, the design, the literature. Nothing was the same after the end of the Second World War. Again, it's not a pro-Nazi statement. I couldn't be more anti-Nazi. Obviously, I'm an American. I care about this country and what happened to it after 1945. And it's a very clear demarcation line. And it seems obvious to me that nuclear weapons are demonic. There's no upside to them at all. And that anyone who claims otherwise is either ignorant or doing the bidding of the forces that created nuclear technology in the first place, which are not human forces, obviously. And let me just ask you this, which I've asked a million people at dinner parties, but never in public. What was the moment we can point to that nuclear technology was invented? We can point to Isaac Newton and say, what apple fell on his head? Or we can point to Albert Hoffman in his lab messing around with the, ergot bacteria. That's when LSD was made. I've never met a person who can isolate the moment where nuclear technology became known to man. And so where did it come from exactly? Oh, German scientists in the 30s. Really when? Name the date. And I've never heard anybody do that. It's very clear to me that these are demonic. I mean, these are evil. Their only purpose is to destroy the innocent, to murder the innocent. They've only been used once, and I think there's an interesting ethical debate about their use. Was Truman right or whatever? But if you take 3 steps back, you could say, well, wait a second. If you end up killing, incinerating tens of thousands of civilians, that's just a bad thing. Let's just be honest. That's just a bad thing. And anyone who does that is going to pay consequences. It's just true. And by the way, the fact the second bomb was dropped on the Christian population of Japan, which was majority in Nagasaki. In fact, it was sighted in on a church in Nagasaki. Was that an accident? Why Nagasaki exactly? And by the way, why has every subsequent American war resulted in disproportionately the deaths of Christians? That would include Vietnam, by the way, where the Catholic population was decimated, up to and including Iraq and Syria, now in Russia. Why is it that our use of force consistently since the end of the Second World War has been against Christians? That's been the effect, to kill Christians. The bombing of the Balkans in the 90s under NATO. Why is that? And I just don't think it's an accident. Clearly, it's not an accident. And I'm very distressed by it. And it's not anti-American. My family's been here since the freaking founding of the country. I'm not going to stand and take that. I'm not hardly anti-American. I'm the most pro-American person I know. I love America. And I sure hardly have to say that. It's not anti-American. I'm distressed about what's being done to my country. I feel an ownership stake in this country. I was born here. I'm a citizen. In my name and with my money. Why wouldn't I? In a much...
So listen, a truth bomb has been dropped. We are under satanic attack as a nation. From celebrating political murder to physical manifestations of evil, the spiritual realm has gone active. Tucker's wounds, they're not imagination. Kirk's assassination wasn't random. The patterns connect. Antifa violence, government corruption, international betrayal, all flowing from the same dark source. The enemy has revealed itself. The question is, will we fight back? Now, laugh if you want. Mock if it makes you comfortable. But Tucker Carlson's bleeding wounds are real. The celebration of murder is real. Spiritual darkness consuming our culture is real. We're not fighting mere political opponents anymore. We're battling forces that operate beyond human comprehension. They want our nation's soul. They want truth silenced. They want God erased. But here's what they didn't count on. Millions of Americans still pray. Millions of Americans still believe. Millions of Americans still stand against darkness. And Tucker stood in that doorway between two worlds and lived to warn us. The battle isn't just political, it is spiritual. So here's my question. Do you believe that we are in a spiritual war for America? Yes or no? Tell us below. Remember, put on the full armor. The enemy is real, but so is our faith. You can support our work, get your next news gear, and stand with us because God always wins.